Hi! Welcome back to the Contemporary World series. I hope you are as excited as I am to learn something new today. So, this week we will be learning about global demography. Do you know how many we are now in the world? Do you know the current population of the Philippines? Do you know what are the top three biggest countries when it comes to population? And most importantly, what are the implications of overpopulation? Demography represents the study of statistics such as births, deaths, or incidence of disease, which illustrate the changing structure of human populations, and these pose an effect on globalization as a whole. So, in general, demography pertains to the composition of a particular human population. We will also be learning some key terms that are associated with the study of demography. And these includes birth rate, life expectancy at birth, mortality rate, median age dependency ratio, and so on. So, one way that a particular individual is added to the population is through births of new individuals. The way we measure this particular type of addition is with the natality rate or the birth rate, which is the number of births per 1,000 individual per unit of time, and usually that is of within a year. On the flip side, one way that individuals leave a population and reduce its size is through deaths of individuals. And the way we measure this is through the mortality rate, which is the number of deaths per 1,000 individual per unit of time. Again, that period of time is usually a year. Migration also affects population patterns. The second way that individuals are added to the population is through immigration. This is the permanent arrival of new individuals into the population. These individuals are, of course, the same species as the rest of the population, and they increase the size of the population as they join the group. Second, individuals may leave through emigration. This is the permanent movement of individuals out of a population. They may be juveniles who are heading out on their own, or they may be adults who leave the group for some reasons like overcrowding or for searching for other sources of food and shelter. Expectation of life at a given age is the average number of years which a person of that age may expect to live based on the mortality pattern prevalent in that country. As a result of global decline in fertility and because people are living longer, global life expectancy is rising. This is what we mean when we say 60 is a new 40 or 70 is a new 50. Generally, people are getting younger, and that is the result of our investment in health, in medicine, in innovations, in science and technology, and so on. So you can see in this graph that Japan has the leading length of years of life expectancy. The global life expectancy or the average expected living age of individuals has steadily increased. For the world as a whole, life expectancy increased from 47 years in 1950 to 1955 to 65 years in 2000 to 2005. In 2016, the World Health Organization reported that 72 years was the average life expectancy at birth of the global population. This graph shows that right now it's at 73.2 years for both sexes combined, and it's also surprising to note that women actually live longer than the male counterpart. So it's 75.6 years for women compared to that of only 70.8 for that of the men. Fertility rate refers to the number of children born by a woman at a period of time during her childbearing age, and that is usually at 15 to 45 years. There are several factors, such as lifestyle factors, increase in sexually transmitted diseases, rise in obesity, and environmental factors involved in urbanization and urban lifestyle that are affecting fertility and have led to rise in male and female subfertility. In addition, there are socio-economic factors that have led to couples or women delaying having children. Lack of affordable housing, flexible and part-time career posts for women, expensive childcare have all contributed to the current low fertility or birth rate. Couples or women are delaying starting a family, which has led to a true decline in their fertility levels due to ovarian aging and related reasons, leading to reduced chance of conception. Median age, on the other hand, is the age that divides a population into two numerically equally sized groups. That is, half of the people are younger than this age and half are older. It is a single index that summarizes the age distribution of a particular population. The global median age has increased from 21.5 years in 1970 to over 30 years in 2019. Age dependency ratio is the ratio of dependents, that is, people younger than 15 years old or older than 64, to the working age population at 15 to 64 years old. The proportion of the population aged 0 to 14 over the population aged 15 to 64, the so-called working age population, is used to indicate the burden of caring for this group and is called the child dependency ratio, whereas the proportion of the population over 65 divided by the working age population is called the old age dependency ratio. Now let's talk about a couple of theories on population growth and decline. First, we have the Malthusian theory and the demographic transition theory. Malthusianism is the idea that population growth is potentially exponential, while the growth of food and other resources is linear. It derives from the political and economic thought of Reverend Thomas Robert Malthus in his 1798 political writing, An Essay on the Principle of Population. Malthus argued that population was growing faster than the amount of resources we could produce. He suggested that at some point population would outgrow resources and that would be catastrophic. There would be conflict and war and famine and diseases, which would then level the population growth and it would then return to balance. Next is the demographic transition model. This model predicts that as a country develops, high birth rates and high death rates will fall. This model also predicts that countries will pass through periods of industrialization and urbanization on the way to reduce birth and death rates. So there are 5 stages. Stage 1 is characterized by high birth rates and fluctuating high death rates resulting in small population growth. Plagues, diseases, and poor nutrition keep death rates high. Stage 2 is characterized by improved healthcare, sanitation, and food supplies, leading to a rapid fall in death rates. Birth rates are still high, so there is a rapid increase in population numbers. Stage 3 is characterized by decreased growth rate of a population. Birth rates begin to fall, industrialization, urbanization, and improved living standards lead to less desire to have large families. Stage 4 is characterized by the completion of a transition to low growth rate with low birth and death rates. The birth rate may fluctuate in special circumstances like that of the post-war baby boom. While in stage 5, it is characterized by a lower birth rate than death rate. This is happening in some European countries and in Japan, but it is not known if this trend will also extend to some other regions. So the demographic transition theory predicts that population grow along a predictable five-stage model. In stage 1, again the pre-industrial society, death rates and birth rates are high and roughly in balance, and population growth is typically very slow and constrained by available food supply. In stage 2, that is of the developing country, the death rates rapidly decline due to improvements in food supply and sanitation, which increases lifespans and reduce diseases. In stage 3, birth rates fall due to access in contraceptions, increases in wages, urbanization, an increase in the status and education of women, an increase in investment in education. Population growth begins to level off. In stage 4, birth rates and death rates are both low. The large group born during stage 2 ages and creates an economic burden on the working age population. In stage 5, though only some theorists acknowledge this stage, others recognize only 4 stages, fertility rates transition to either below replacement or above replacement. So that's the demographic transition theory. And now let us try to answer our last question. What are the implications of overpopulation? Well, there's the good side and then there's the bad side. The good news is there'd be better economy. That is why people in rural areas opt to have more children in the first place. More kids would mean there would be more hands to help in the farm, or that there'll be more professionals to help the parents later on in their life when they get old. Second, there will be more efficient utilization of resources, especially in urban areas. The denser the population, the more concentrated it is in one particular area, and the more efficient the public transportation is, the lesser the carbon footprint. There'd also be more medical, agricultural, and industrial growth. This is owing to the fact that there'd be more brains added to our think tank, which would then contribute to more innovations in science and technology, in medicine, and in all other areas. There'd also be better labor force, especially if we have a good working age population. And of course, there'd be greater investment in capital formation. On the bad side, the perils of overpopulation include shortage of food and land. Many scientists believe that we have already exceeded the maximum carrying capacity of the earth. The Food and Agricultural Organization warns that in order to mitigate the impact of population growth, food production must increase by 70%. Annual cereal production must rise to 3 billion to add to the current 2.1 billion, and yearly meat production has to go up by 200 million to reach 420 million. There's also environmental problems. Take note that we are 7.8 billion here now on Earth, and the Earth has not gotten any bigger. We all need the Earth's resources to have energy, to warm our bodies, to warm our homes, to run our cars, and so on. There'd be problem of unemployment, of course. And of course, there's a problem on poverty and low standard of living. There are millions of people around the world who are dying of hunger, of diseases, of malnutrition. There'd also be inflation, and of course, like the Malthusian's way of thinking, sooner or later, when resources ran out, there'd be conflict and war. The population clock sets the world population at 7.8 billion, with China leading, having 1.4 billion, and is considered as the biggest country in the world when it comes to population. India has 1.3 billion, while US has 331 million people, and they come as second and third place respectively. Philippines has 109 million and we are on the 13th rank. For current and real-time count on population, birth rates, and death rates, check worldometer.info. So, demography again gives you the tools and analytical perspective to understand the world around you. It gives you the equipment to solve problems not only of your community but of the world in general. And it also gives us the means to intervene more wisely and effectively in the real world to improve not only your own well being but also that of others. With that said, the study of demography is an essential area of focus when we look at globalization as a whole. So, in conclusion, we have a growing population, and experts believe that we will reach the 9 billion milestone in the year 2050. Second, the Malthusian's way of thinking is a pessimistic way of thinking, but is also a rather realistic way of thinking. If left unchecked, we are bound to endanger our own species through overpopulation. Being educated individuals and given all those data I just presented to you, I hope that will help you make more well-informed decisions in the future. Let's look at the bigger picture and realize that what we do, no matter how small as having a large family, ironic as that may sound, actually affects the world in general. After all, we are all interconnected in this small world we live in. So I hope that has been helpful to you. For more lectures in the Contemporary World series, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.